Professor Zethrak's tentacles twitched nervously as he approached the podium at the Galactic Academic Conference. The amphitheater, carved from crystalline formations on the neutral world of Nexus Prime, buzzed with the conversations of scholars from 47 different species. Today's topic: comparative civilizational development patterns across known species. Colleagues, Zethrak began, his voice translator rendering his clicks and whistles into standard galactic. I must address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the human. A ripple of uncomfortable silence spread through the audience. In the back row, Dr. Sarah Chen, the lone human representative, shifted in her specially designed chair and raised an eyebrow. For the past 3 cycles, we have carefully structured our historical discussions to avoid direct comparison with human civilization. Today, I believe it's time we explain why. Zethrak's assistant, a crystalline being named Quartz, activated the holographic display. The first image showed a timeline of galactic species development. Observe the standard pattern, Zethrak continued. The Altarians took 50,000 years to develop spaceflight after achieving agriculture. The Vorthan Empire required 75,000 years. My own people, the Zeltoids, needed a respectable 45,000 years. Even the notoriously quick binary collective took 30,000 years. He paused, his large black eyes scanning the audience. Humans achieved spaceflight in approximately 10,000 years after agriculture. But that's not the disturbing part. Another image appeared. A graph showing technological development curves. Most species follow predictable patterns. They discover fire, develop metallurgy, create basic tools, and slowly progress through logical sequences. Humans, however, Zethrak's tentacles curled in what his species' equivalent of a shudder. Humans went from bronze working to splitting atoms in roughly 3,000 years. From their first powered flight to landing on their moon in 66 of their years. Dr. Vexhan, a reptilian scholar from the Serpentine Confederacy, raised a clawed hand. Surely you exaggerate, Professor. I wish I were, Zethrak replied. But it gets worse. Humans routinely skip technological steps entirely. They developed electromagnetic theory before understanding atomic structure. They created global communication networks before mastering efficient space travel. They built quantum computers while still using combustion engines. The audience stirred uneasily. This violated every known principle of technological progression. Moreover, Zethrak continued, human warfare accelerates their development in ways that should be impossible. During their World War II, they advanced materials science, rocketry, electronics, and nuclear physics simultaneously. In 6 years, what should have taken millennia, they accomplished during one conflict. A gaseous collective representative, essentially a talking cloud contained in a specialized suit, posed a question through its translator. Perhaps we're overestimating the complexity of these achievements. Zethrak's assistant displayed a new hologram, the human internet. This is their internet, Zethrak explained. Created as a military communication system, it evolved into a planet-spanning network connecting billions of individuals in real time. They built this infrastructure in less than 30 years. For comparison, the Altarian thought web took them 800 years to establish across their homeworld. Dr. Chen finally stood up. Professor Zethrak, might I address some misconceptions? The amphitheater fell silent. Several species representatives unconsciously moved backward. Please, Zethrak said, though his voice carried a note of resignation. You're viewing our development through your own cultural lens, Chen said, walking down the aisle. You assume technological progress should be linear and predictable. But humans excel at lateral thinking and parallel development. We don't wait for one discovery to enable another. We pursue multiple paths simultaneously. That's precisely what troubles us, interjected Professor Morthak of the Silicon-based collective. Your species exhibits non-deterministic development patterns. It's chaos masquerading as progress. Chen smiled, an expression that made several aliens instinctively recoil. You want to know why you refuse to debate human history? It's not because we're chaotic. It's because we force you to confront the possibility that there are fundamentally different ways to evolve and grow. She gestured to the timeline still displayed above them. Your species follow algorithmic development, predictable, logical, safe. But algorithms optimize for known solutions. Humans optimize for unknown problems. Zethrak's tentacles writhed. But how do you make decisions without complete information? How do you advance without consensus? How do you take risks without certainty? That's exactly the point, Chen replied. We don't need certainty to act. We don't require consensus to innovate. We've built our entire civilization on the principle that it's better to try and fail than to wait for perfect conditions. The amphitheater erupted in confused chatter. The concept was alien to most species present. Consider this, Chen continued, raising her voice. While you spent millennia perfecting agriculture, we had humans who said, what if we could fly? While you were optimizing metallurgy, we had humans asking, what if we could transmit voice across vast distances? And we don't wait for the logical next step. We leap toward impossible dreams and figure out the path while falling. Professor Zethrak looked defeated. This is precisely why we avoid these debates. Human history doesn't follow rules. It doesn't make sense. It's terrifying? Chen suggested gently. Yes, Zethrak admitted. Because if your chaotic approach works, if unpredictability can outperform optimization, then everything we understand about civilizational development is wrong. Chen nodded. Not wrong, Professor. Just incomplete. The universe is vast enough for multiple approaches to succeed. Your way builds stable, lasting civilizations. Our way, she paused, grinning. Our way gets us to the stars before we're ready, and somehow makes it work anyway. As she returned to her seat, the amphitheater remained silent. The truth hung in the air like a challenge to everything the galactic academic community believed about progress, civilization, and the proper way to reach for the infinite. Later, in private conversations, many scholars would admit that this was precisely why they preferred to avoid debating human history. Not because humans were inferior, but because they represented a terrifying alternative, proof that chaos and creativity could triumph over careful planning and logical progression. Some truths, they realized, were too dangerous to examine too closely.